Good afternoon. Welcome to the shop. My name's Jamie. So today we're going to be installing a mini split on the side of the house. We are going to be mounting it on that bracket. It's the Mr. Cool Do-It-Yourself kit. We've got a special visitor with us today, Mr. Turkey. Come by and visit quite often. And then overhead today you're going to be hearing a lot of jets. Down near the Air Force Base, they seem to be running a lot of tests today, so a lot of training going on. But first, let's take a look at the winch system that I'm going to use to hoist that up there. The Mr. Cool setup, it's quite convenient. It's definitely made for the do-it-yourselfer. The kit is self-contained with the refrigerants already charged in the machine or in the unit and in the lines. One of the downfalls is it only comes in 25-foot line sections, and so you can see here I've already mounted it inside the house, and here's the 20-foot cable or hoses coming out. And so with my installation, I wanted to keep it away from that exhaust vent, which is for a heater that I have in the garage. Now, the chances of me using the heater and the air conditioner at the same time, very low. But I just figure better safe than sorry. And I'd like to keep the air conditioning unit about 4 feet away from that exhaust vent. And because of that, and because of the length of the line, I can't bring it down to the ground. And so up on the wall is the best mount for me. Now, getting it up there, is going to be interesting today. So what we're going to look at, I looked at scaffolding. With the situation that I had, just even trying to get the air conditioning unit up on the scaffolding, up 14 feet high, was problematic. And instead I came up with a pulley system with a very inexpensive pulley that should work really well. So the pulley system that I have here, it's the Rugged Gear gambrel and pulley hoist. Holds up to 440 pounds, which is be more than enough for what I'm looking at. The unit that I have is a 12,000 BTU unit, and it's really not that heavy, maybe 60 pounds. So this device here will be more than capable as far as its ability to hold that much weight. So I'm just going to put this together and we'll get it set up on the house. The upper pulley here has the hook and the loop on it. So we'll just put a simple square knot into that and then tie it off again. As a backup. So here's what the basic setup looks like. This will hang up onto in my case, to the soffit. This will go into the gambrel section, and then we'll hook up some straps to either end of this to pull up the AC unit. We're going to test it out on the ground, of course, before we bring it live and bring it up to up onto the bracket. But if this works out, it'll definitely be one way to do it. Okay, so let's give this a test before we put the mini split on it. We're going to see how well this thing holds. And we'll see if it'll hold me up. Oh, you can't see my feet, but we're floating. All right, well, it's up. You know, it took a little longer than I thought it might, but it's done, and I feel pretty good about it. Next thing we'll do, we're gonna connect those hoses, get the electrical run in, and we'll be good to go. When lining up the line set, it's important that you relieve the strain that's on these when they're plugging in. So I had to work that cable back behind the unit in such a way that I could get the lines oriented in a stress-free manner. You can see my line set will line up nicely with very little stress. Wait to take off the caps until you're ready to install the unit. And they recommend doing the bottom one first. It goes without saying that it's important not to cross thread these when you're hand tightening them. The torque is also very important. You want to bring the connectors down so that they touch, and then turn a little bit more, but don't over tighten. have the electrical connected. Next, we're going to release the refrigerant and test for leaks. So you remove these caps. And they ask you to do the top one first. They do give you this Allen wrench, which quite honestly, I don't need any more Allen wrenches. Everything you buy gives you a cheap Allen wrench. So this goes in the valve. You loosen it all the way. And you loosen the bottom valve. You can hear it going through. Okay. Now we want to replace the caps and check for leaks. To check for leaks, I just have some soap and water. And here I'm just looking for some bubbles. And it looks good. So finishing up the job on the mini split, after you've installed the pipes, the electrical's all good to go and you've checked for leaks, they want you to wrap the exposed line with this UV tape. However, it's not tape, it's not adhesive. And so really when you wrap it around, it really just makes a mess. It's sort of a big waste. I'm not exactly sure why they do it. However, what is good about these rolls is the inner cardboard, because what you can do is take some, I've got in this case white all-weather duct tape. It's pretty expensive, 10 or 11 bucks a whack, but it's so big it's hard to wrap around the pipes, especially when you're up there. So what you can do is you can use the cardboard liner from the terrible UV tape and kind of re-roll your own into smaller batches. And I've used this with pretty good success. It allows me to, really wrap that insulation and protect it. So I'll just do this, get a couple of lengths, go wrap some line, come back and do it again. All right, there we go. Doesn't look great right now, but it works really well. All right, so we'll give you a little tour of the unit from up here. My electrical connections come over to this shutoff that I have. Trust me, it opens. Here are my connections. And I've wrapped everything that's going to be exposed to the UV. Luckily, this is on the back side of the house too. But anything up high that could get some sunlight on it, I've wrapped it up. And one thing that I like to do is I've added this hook to kind of take some of the tension off of the fittings so that the hose is, most of the weight is being supported by that hook. The line cover that I bought, it's a lot less expensive than the Mr. Cool one, and it works great. I'll have a link for that into the description as well. And the bracket. So the bracket's also an Amazon purchase. And this was, this side, those lag bolts go directly into a stud on the house. And the leftmost top bracket, that also too goes into a stud. The majority of the weight on this unit is on the right-hand side. Rubber feet help with insulation so you don't get a lot of sound reverberating through the wall. All right. Okay, here's the very first test. That's disappointing. All right, here's the mini split launch. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's on. Here in this installation, the only wall that I had available was an interior wall. And so kind of made that cover out of leftover piece from the line cover kit. And then inside the closet, my line goes down. I'm going to cover this up, but it goes down the inside before it goes outside. And you can see I use some spray foam in there to make sure that there's no way any animals or whatnot are getting in. All right, it's blowing. It's a really neat setup. It does have, you know, a remote control with all sorts of features. And you can also set it up to be compatible with your phone. Let's head outside and see how the unit sounds outside. All right, so the unit's on. I can hear it, but just barely. I don't know if you can hear that. Let's go up the ladder and see how it sounds up close. This thing is quiet as can be. I've read some complaints about wall mounting that the sound travels through into the house. I can't hear a thing from the inside of the house, and I can, you know, you can barely hear it out here. Here's the Mr. Cool unit, 24,000 BTU, a setup that I put in last fall. And, you know, this unit's substantially heavier. I opted for the pouring the concrete pad. And again, the outside line cover kit, I do recommend buying the less expensive one. There's no reason to be paying all that money for the brand name one. This thing works amazing. The AC is really cold, and it's nice to have that heat option when you want to kind of take the edge off. This installation, you know, virtually identical. 220. This runs on 220, so a little bit different electrical situation. You know, and as with any AC unit, you need to have a separate shutoff near the unit. But this thing's been great. You know, it's been nice, like I said, when you want to kind of take the edge off of a cold day without kind of trying to heat up the whole house. And the AC is nice to just have a remote control that you can press on, as opposed to the large, bulky window unit. And the one that we had before, actually, right in that window, it took 2 people to set it up. It was so heavy. So this 24,000 BTU unit does our entire first floor, and we've been really happy with it. The Mr. Cool self-install products are definitely worth it. And, you know, check out the products. I've got all of the links listed in the description of the video below. And I'll just say, you know, I'll be doing different projects like this, so like and subscribe if this is something that you're interested in, seeing something like this in the future. And as always, appreciate comments. You know, the installation of my outdoor unit, or my second unit up on the wall, was interesting. Getting that unit up on the wall, and so, you know, I'm sure there might be some comments about that, but it worked out pretty well. All right, so with that, why don't we wrap this up? And until next time, appreciate you coming by to visit.